these skills are so important because the damage of not doing it in the right way can really affect the bottom line.
Right. Yes. In fact, one of our pieces of research, the Grief Recovery Institute, did a study back in 2003, which they've updated or are in the process of updating. And when you define grief the way we defined it here a little bit earlier in this discussion, more broadly than just the loss of a loved one, they found that the impact of grieving employees in the workplace costs U.S. companies about $75 billion annually in lost productivity. And the irony in all of this is, so not only have leaders not been trained and they don't know how to deal with this, and they're young, right? Because all companies now, all larger companies, do an awful lot with talent matrices and, you know, high potential, high performing individuals, and they're looking for younger and younger and younger people in their succession planning and putting them in bigger and bigger roles. Not only haven't they been trained, but the organizations themselves tend, they tend to wear the badge of, you know, hey, we're performance driven, which is a very good thing if you are investing in the company, and sometimes even if you're a customer, but certainly if it's a publicly traded company and Wall Street's involved, that's very much in favor. But that also tends to mean that your culture likely is not to a point where people feel safe in coming to work and being at work and admitting that they're struggling. And so you've got that dynamic playing out as well. So you have an employee who is in a stage of grief, pick one of the five, doesn't matter, and their performance begins to slip. The culture of the organization has not evolved to the point in many organizations where that employee feels comfortable raising their hand and going, hey, I am really struggling and I need help. You got a leader who's never been trained and actually gets rewarded for removing underperforming talent, or at least addressing underperforming talent. And so you get this whole dynamic playing out that results in this void where the leader is not addressing what the needs of the employee and is actually compounding the grief, because now we're starting to put the person on a performance improvement plan and we're starting to manage the organization stress. And right, just added stress. Exactly,
piling on.
Right? Yeah. And I don't mean to paint a picture that all organizations do that, but right. Certainly there is a gap of awareness here. And at the end of the day, you know, let's face it, dealing with someone who is in one of the stages of grief is awkward. It's emotional. It is
uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. That's the word I was looking for. It's very uncomfortable. You don't know what to say. You don't want to say something that's going to make this person get upset or cry. And so even if you're aware of the situation, you don't have the muscle memory, you don't have the experience, as you mentioned, to actually deal with it. And so we have begun to put together a process to take companies through that would at least expose leaders to what's going on, how they should think about this, and actually even give them a model to follow that would help them adapt their leadership to meet the need of not only the grieving person, but frankly, it's applicable to all of their employees' development.